Welcome, everyone, to the Good Time podcast. I'm sitting with Christian, and today we are diving into the science between the good time ratio. So, Christian, welcome. So, you've been researching this for years, right? So, let's try to unpack it together.
Great.
So, tell me first, what is exactly the good time ratio?
The good time ratio in simple terms measures basically how much of your time you experience as a good time and would call it that way. So you're attracted towards being in this time versus the time you're not attracted to be in or neutral towards.
Okay, wow. So, how do you measure it?
That is a very good question. So what do we define as a good time came eventually down to the question, why do we actually experiencing good times as a human being? And this comes from biology and even more from physics, where the physical law is that energy needs to flow. And in an organism such as our human organism, to ensure that energy is flowing, we experience or get an indication that this feels good. So our body indicates us, do more of this, energy is flowing, or stay here, what you're doing, that energy keeps flowing. While a negative experience, a bad time or the absence of a good time, would be the opposite, where we're experiencing energy blockages, where our body indicates us change. So therefore, actually, we're measuring energy flow in the human body by assessing what our tendency is towards the situation we are in.
That's very interesting. So how is good time ratio different from other metrics that are trying to measure life satisfaction or even happiness?
Primary difference is that we are not based on assumptions that are linked to cultural experiences. For example, many happiness metrics assume that you have to have a certain amount of money to be fulfilled or be happy, or assume that there should be a low level of corruption that you can be satisfied with your life. But these are all cultural experiences. Another example is also the tool, the Wheel of Life, where you assess the satisfaction of someone for his career, for example, or how satisfied this person is with his significant other. But these metrics fall short very fast when you consider that some people are single and yet seem to be quite fulfilled, or some people are retired and don't have a career anymore. Or so instead of basing our calculation on assumptions that can be potentially endless, we just ground it in physics.
And so how does your current PhD support the development of the good time ratio?
In my PhD, I firstly wanted to measure actually only what factors are needed to increase good times versus decrease good times. As it turned out that there is not even a metric out there that does this job accurately, I focused on developing this metric within my PhD. And I found so far that there are 5 live areas through interviews, and that's basically what we're validating further and distilling the information, where is energy flowing and where is energy blocked, by having interviews with people in different cultures, at different life stages, and in different nations.
You did self-experiment the good time ratio. You measured your good time ratio, I guess, on a weekly and a monthly basis. What have you discovered about yourself?
I discovered multiple things about myself and my whole life. A few things that came clear to me were that life is not really a mess if I have the overview in what area of my life I'm actually affected, so I can address this targeted rather than just driving crazy and try to fix everything and work on something that actually is completely unrelated to my current situation. That is the first thing that gave me a lot of clarity. And within this context, I found a few concrete things that worked for me very well, that I found I need some me time more than I thought before, some silent time to reduce the input from the outside to calm down my mind, and also social time, but also the quality of social time. Oftentimes I spend time in social interactions that I thought like, yeah, that's normal, and I do this even for fun, but realizing later it didn't give me that much fun. So asking myself, what is this purpose of getting into this interaction? And does it serve this purpose? And if it didn't serve that purpose, maybe I can reframe it, get some distance, or change my environment and change my approaches. That helped me a lot to clarify those things and also increase my inner awareness of how am I living my life? How am I spending my life? Is the way I'm spending my time working for me or against me? And I can give a concrete example also. The more I measured my good times and saw my good time ratio, I've been in situations where things didn't work that well as I planned with someone in my life. And instead of being mad, what I was used to be sometimes, and thinking like, frustrated, it didn't work as I wanted, I had in mind, I don't want to mess up my good time ratio. So what can I do instantly to change the situation that I'm still experiencing a good time, even though it wasn't as I initially planned? And just this simple idea of I want to have a good time. This is actually what I'm aiming for, rather than I want to be mad. I want to stick to that thing, and it didn't work as I wanted. So it had to be like this. I changed the approach and was more flexible with how I'm spending my time, as long as it served me to have a good experience and having a high good time ratio.
That's a great example. Thanks for sharing. What would a first time user of GoodTime.app experience or learn about himself? Maybe just by doing 1 day or maybe 1 week assessment.
We had a lot of users who reported that, and when we had the onboarding interviews initially, who expressed their surprise eventually when they saw the dashboard with this clarity on, I'm same as I just told about myself. Oh, this is actually not the issue. This is the issue. And this is actually okay. And this could be better. And wait, as I'm seeing it so clearly, let me change this right away and instantly having a better day tomorrow or the next time I'm encountering the situation. May it be an environmental change or a social change or even a habit change. And this is something users can experience right away after one assessment. What we yet recommend is to do it frequently because things change. Life is changing, so the situations are changing. And sometimes this was just a snapshot of one moment in life and might not have too much of a significance. But later that week, doing the same thing again, you see whether something is just an anomaly or if it is actually a steady problem or something that works steadily well. This allows to be confident in how to approach life and seeing trends and adjusting behavior instantly when things get off track before it's already too late and requires a lot of work to change it again.
That's great. I remember when I tracked my good time ratio at the very first, at the beginning of our project. I had some nice realizations, and I was able to adjust my behaviors. So thanks for
Yeah.
sharing. I welcome all our listeners to go on GoodTime.app, measure their first good time ratio, um, and discover more about themselves and how they can improve their life satisfaction.
Yeah. And please send us a review and a feedback how your life improved. This is eventually what fuels us. So the better your times become, the more fulfilled and the better our times are too.